Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I don't typically do a Thursday video, especially after like a little short yesterday, but I got really caught up in not being accountable to my schedule and my goals yesterday, and I kind of let the weather and whatever kind of drift me in another direction. So I've been doing a lot of work and participating in a reading group with the book Atomic Habits, James Clear. I know you guys know that. And recently talking about habit stacking and so forth. And another book that I go back to over and over and over again that I think is a total game changer for anyone is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And so I get these daily snippets from the Darren Hardy in my email. And this morning I got one that really hit home, and it was about the ripple effect. So the example in this was a young employee that came to his employer and was complaining that the other members of his team were not including him in like events or conversations or I don't know, whatever different things. And he wanted the employer to intervene on his behalf. So the employer took the employee outside and had him pick up a pebble and drop it into this pond of water or water fountain or something that they had outside. And he dropped it in, and the employer said, "Do you see those ripples? I want you to stop the ripples. Put your hand in and see if you can stop the ripples." And the employee put his hand in, and of course he could not stop the ripples. And the employer said that I can't control that either. So basically what the message was behind it is what you put in ripples out in many directions. And he went on and elaborated more. And of course, this was really a big one for me because as a realist, you know, the glass is not half full or half empty, it's a glass. But what I have to be really careful with my ripple effect personally is we all know that a lot of reality, a lot of everyday life activities, situations, everything can be very negative, and there can be more negative than positive there. And when you respond, react, share, engage, that little pebble, that one comment, that one response, that one choice that you make in that moment, if you're not very conscientious of it, you have to be aware that it's not just the one thing that you're saying to that one person or maybe that one room of people at that moment, but it will resonate, and it resonates with that person or people on an ongoing fashion, and it will resonate through their vibe about you. It will resonate through how they feel about situations, all of that. So he was talking about being very strategic, being very conscientious about even when you're being realistic of anything that you're sharing, just to be very, very aware that it is going to ripple. So for me, that made me really have to stop and take a step back and say, ooh, okay, because I tend to be very matter of fact and just not really super sugarcoaty. So for me, that gave me like a really good thing to, I really hope that stays and has a ripple effect with me and resonates with me every day and in every interaction, because I'm a very introspective and introverted person, and I come home and revisit and replay things in my mind every day. But it's more important to be aware and conscientious as the action and conversation is taking place, even more so than it is to revisit it later on. So that was my first point. But I also went back to Darren Hardy a little bit more because just like James Clear, Hardy talks about habits and about all of the little things in your life that can compound. The beginning of the book, he gives a monetary example, and if you were given the option of having, I don't know, whatever it is, like $100,000 or a penny a day, I don't remember the exact example, but at any rate, he talks a great deal about how everything in our life compounds. And when he gets into talking about habits, there are some very strong parallels between what he says and what James Clear says. But I think that Hardy even takes it a little bit to another level. So one of the things he talks about with, if you want to get rid of bad habits, is you have to get rid of that instant gratification, kind of being addicted to that instant gratification. And he said the instant gratification derived from habits often outweighs what's in your rational mind concerning the long-term consequences. So he's talking about, like, if you ate a Big Mac and immediately had a heart attack, it's very likely you would never eat McDonald's food again. Even though in your conscious mind, you know that the ingredients in that food is very bad for you, and in the long term, it will affect your health negatively. But in the moment, you go for that instant gratification of maybe the flavor or whatever it is, right, of that burger. And then he talks about habits you indulge in could be compounding your life into repeated disaster. But then I put the spin on that myself, because we're talking about habit stacking and implementing more positive actions to turn into habits in our life, and how to do that, how to habit stack them. So you could also flip that switch and say the habits you indulge in can be compounding your life into repeated successes, into repeated accomplishments of your goals, right? So if you're not just indulging in the bad ones, but you're habit stacking and you're really putting those new ones in and you repeat them and turn them into habits, they're going to not be repeat disaster. They're going to be repeated success, repeated meeting of your goals and satisfying. And the slightest adjustment, not quantum leaps of change. So that is where he's exactly parallel through all of his talking, just like James Clear, about small, slight adjustments, making those over and over and more, the compounding of those and that compound effect that it will have in your overall success and well-being. But he really goes hard on your why. And of course, Clear talks a little bit in the beginning of his book about your why and knowing your why so that you can set your goals and put your systems in place. But Darren Hardy goes a little further with it, and he says the power of your why is what gets you to stick through the mundane and unpleasant and not necessarily super fun or engaging activities that we have to make a habit, right? Because some of the things that we have to implement and habit stack into our life, they're not necessarily something that's going to give us a great big bunch of dopamine every time or make us really happy and excited in the moment, but they are necessary in order to reach the goals that we have for our own success. And so he's right. If your why about why you're doing things is powerful enough, you're going to do the things that nobody else wants to do. You're going to do the things that are not so much fun, and you're going to do them repeatedly, and you're going to make habits of them because your why is powerful. But this is the statement I love the most. He said, the how, so your systems, habits, your how you do it, is meaningless until your why is powerful enough. So digest that for a minute. Your how is meaningless unless your why is powerful enough. And that makes perfect sense, because you can have all sorts of great systems that you set up for yourself and schedules and the way you go about doing things. And, oh, I'm going to do this like this, and I'm going to get up at this time, and I'm going to make these calls at this time. But those systems don't take on real meaning to you. They don't become a critical part of who you are unless your why, about why you do everything you do, why you have those systems, why you have those goals, what your true purpose is strong and powerful enough. So you really have to go back to that why. And I think I challenged everybody Monday on my Rejuvenate Refresh, put something new into your game. What can you do to feel revitalized about your life, your goals, your job? That points back to your why, right? Because your why is what gives you that energy. Your why is your vibe. Your why is really the answer to, it's what gives you energy. It's what rejuvenates you. And if you're not feeling rejuvenated or excited or ready, if you're not really actively trying to change the things that are standing in your way, and maybe put some new ones in that will get you better at what you're doing, if that doesn't really appeal to you, if that doesn't grab you and compel you, then possibly what you're doing every day doesn't align with your why for what you want in your life. So I would challenge you to dig deep into your why. Make sure your why is at the forefront of your mind, of your heart, of your day, and design all of your habits, all of your hows, all of your everything around that why. And then you can start attacking the habits and systems that maybe need to be tweaked, because your why is everything. And also that ripple effect, right? So your why is also driving your response to conflict, or just like now the market, right? It's difficult. But if your why is strong enough, you're going to put the systems and the how in place to overcome the obstacles, and not just overcome them, but to do it with rejuvenation and strength, and maybe even come out far better than you even planned or set your goal to. So that's my challenge to you. Get that why, make it powerful, make it meaningful, and design your how and your systems and your habits driven by that why. Have an amazing rest of your day and rest of your week, and reach out if I can help you in any way.